Hello, fellow citizens, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Elfie, just a girly pop trying to figure out this Star Citizen thing. And today, I went cave mining with a few members of my org, Gargantua Space Industries. We're a pretty small engineering and logistics org, and we're always welcoming new members or just friends to play with as guests. And if you are interested in the shenanigans that you're about to see, feel free to check out the Discord down in the description below. We started off the day by meeting in the hangar and getting the gear that the org provided for us. There were a couple of different colors, and I opted for the black heavy armor, but they also had the tools that we needed for mining, and I got a very special pink gun. We then hopped into the Valkyrie, which is in my opinion one of the most functional ships in this game, and I really like it. There were a couple of rocks that we had, and this was going to be the transport for the day to get us from location to location. We first flew to Pyro 5, and this was super cool because this was the first eclipse that I've seen in this game. And then we headed off to Ignis, which is Pyro 5's most inner moon. The flight was nice, and I got to see a lot of the different textures on this moon that we would be exploring while mining. And then we headed up to the Idris, and this was where we were going to keep our medical imprints in case something happened, as well as use it as a storage area for any of the materials that we were going to get throughout the day. And I thought that this was a pretty cool look with the moon texture, with the sun, and the trailing lights from the ship. And of course the Idris was also parked in a very beautiful spot in between these two moons. And the Valkyrie can't actually fit in the Idris, so we floated through space into the docking collar. Once we had our imprints ready to go, it was time to go do some mining. And to find the caves, we weren't actually using contracts or anything that gave us locations. We were using triangulated coordinates relative to the Ashland outposts that were scouted before we went mining. And if you ask me what that means, I have no idea. All I know is that we had to fly sideways, and these guys know what they were doing. We found the first hole pretty quickly, and we hopped into the rocks. This allowed us to get down pretty easy because there's no fall damage, and we were able to use the jetpack to get up easily out of the hole. But they could only make it so far, so we ditched them and we went on foot to go find some gems to mine. And the way that I understand it is that green is the most common or lowest value, blue is medium, and purple is the good stuff. I found this blue one hidden in this little area, and I pulled out my multi-tool. Thank you to everyone in my last video who let me know that it was alt scroll instead of just scroll. That way I knew how to power this thing up, and I was good to go. I had a pretty easy time mining all of the gems today, and none of them really broke or we didn't have any incidents as far as hand mining goes. I didn't find as many gems as some of the other guys in this cave, but I really enjoyed walking around and kind of exploring. However, I'm one of the most directionally challenged people out there, and I didn't want to get lost. But I was provided with some flares, so I threw it on the ground. And nothing happened. But then I realized if you hit F, you can activate it, and then it turns a really pretty pink. And after walking around for a bit, I found another blue gem, which was the last one I found in this cave, and I was okay with that because I was sure I would find more. I also came across this bug that was really living on the edge in this cave, along with another one, so of course I took them both home. But the boys were ready to pack up, and someone took my rock, so I actually had to manually climb up. But once I got to the top, it was one of the most breathtaking views. For a moon, this was way better than I expected. And the whole way to the next cave, we got to watch the sunset. And for the second cave, we just full sent it without the rocks. And the climb down really wasn't that bad, you just had to be careful not to get too close to the edge. And after a little exploration, I came across my first purple rock, which I was super excited for because that meant more money. I got straight to mining with my hand tool, and these ones seemed to be a little bit more sensitive than the blue ones. I got slightly close to the red zone, but it didn't blow up on me, which was a good sign. When I tickled it a little bit more, it broke and I got those gems. And when I found my friend Lee, he was picking some things off of the ground. I didn't actually realize that these were lootable in the last cave, so I was super excited to find more things and not just gems. My little loot goblin heart was happy. And of course we immediately find another purple rock, which was sick. And this one was a little bit more stable, so we were cooking. I found another blue rock, a little bug hiding in the corner, a lot of holes that I was definitely afraid of falling down, and another blue rock. The second cave was definitely a lot deeper and better than the first cave, but then it was time to go out and explore mining on the surface of the moon. And surface mining is definitely not what I expected. Cody over here was shooting a rock and I thought everything was going great. But when the rest of us went to scan, we actually couldn't. And neither could Cody. He was just blindly shooting that rock. So once we established that the rocks couldn't actually scan anything because they were bugged, Hauser had the great idea to scan with his hand tool and guide Cody.
Shoot it again. You're out of the zone. Stand by. A little more, shoot more. Go, too much, run!
Okay, it's good. I dropped pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, did you just kill all of us?
Yeah. Come here, Lee.
At least we had our good friend Lee to come pick us up when we were down, but that's what a little bit of desync in Star Citizen will do to you. But did we give up and go back to the caves? No, not at all. They tried it again. After Lee came to pick us up again, we weren't allowed back in the rocks, partially because we were idiots, but also because they were all broken. So we all gathered round and used our hand tools to finally get the rock that killed us twice. And this time, it was only a little bruise instead of a concussion. So we headed back to the Valkyrie, loaded up all the gems that we got, and we headed off to the next cave. But this time, it was going to be a little bit different. We got to the location and we were trying to find the hole like a young virgin, but it didn't happen. Lee eventually found it so we could fly to him, but none of us should be playing Where's Waldo. This was a different cave because it was considered a sand cave rather than a rock cave. Immediately, I noticed the pretty little mushrooms on the walls. And some of the bigger ones are actually lootable. I'm curious if crafting will ever come to the game, and you could possibly make some psychedelics with these.
Oh god. I'm dead.
What happened?
There is a bottomless pit.
Okay.
After I was done mining, I checked it out, and there was indeed a bottomless pit. So we named this cave Cody's Hole. And in Cody's Hole, I found a green gem, some more plants, 2 blue gems, and then we were back in the Valkyrie, putting all of our stuff in the bin. It was a pretty small cave, but I do think I like the sand caves better than the rock caves because they had a little bit more character with the shrooms. We headed off to a couple more caves where they were all pretty much the same. The only highlight is that at this one, I happened to fall through the moon, and I don't think it was my fall. I woke up in the Idris, so there was really no harm other than the fact that they have the med gels now, and I was back to mining in no time. We went to 6 caves total, and that's not including the total bust that was surface mining. On the last cave, I saw that the sun was setting, and I ran away from the group to go check it out. After a long day of mining with some friends, it was nice to just sit down and watch the sun set behind the mountains on Ignis. When starting the series Exploring Pyro, I never considered the moons. I always thought I was going to be visiting planets and stations, but some of the natural beauty in this game is just really breathtaking and something that I want to see more of. And this footage was sped up to 400% for you guys to actually watch it with me, but I sat here for a good 10 minutes just taking it in. If you like videos like this where you see Star Citizen from a new player's perspective, be sure to like and subscribe to support the channel. I post new videos twice a week, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, Elfie out.